That's a pretty powerful vision. Can you kind of get that? Is that vision? Can you hear that vision? Can you feel that? Right? It's a completely self-organizing system. The next Buddha is a Sangha. There's no teacher who's going to tell you what to do. Right? You're the only person who knows, right, what outrageous acts of love are yours to perform, because your outrageous acts of love emerge directly from the enlightened consciousness of your unique self. And because your self is unique, there's no teacher who can tell you what to do. You get that? Right? If it's just about true self, we're all part of the one. So if the teacher has a higher realization of true self than you do, the teacher then has natural authority. But if it's actually about unique self-enlightenment, the teacher, by definition, has to bow to the self-authoring authority of your unique self. That's the good news. But the second piece of news is, then you become the guru, and you actually have to break your own butt. And you actually have to liberate yourself from egoic grasping, and you actually have to step into the enlightened consciousness of unique self, because we live in the world of the democratization of enlightenment. Democratization of enlightenment. We can't leave enlightenment to a few people in Jerusalem, a couple people in Nepal, one person in the Castro, and another one in Oklahoma. Right? We can't do that. And that's what we've done for the last about 6,000 years. Today's about the democratization of enlightenment, which means I'm an outrageous lover. I'm actually willing to stand as an outrageous lover and to get uncomfortable. Right? And from that place of being uncomfortable, I'm actually going to find this is mine to do. This is mine to do. And no one else can do it but me. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to change everything.
Mark, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
About right there where you're doing, and tell me your thoughts also about kind of being. Is it a doing that unique call?
Absolutely. Fuck being.
Okay.
Right? Now actually, what I mean by that is, and I'll give you the 2-second version, then we're going to do music. Okay? You and I are separate selves. Right? What's your first name? Brian. Brian Mark. Okay. Both separate selves. Right? Here we are. That's the state of being a separate self, being a skin-encapsulated ego. Busy man, doing stuff all the time. And that's the doing that you're responding to. Well, what are you doing? You're supposed to be being. Because isn't that what all spiritual teachers tell us? Right? Just be. No, that's a huge mistake in spiritual teaching. The first level of doing is the level of the personality, the separate self, the ego self. I move beyond level 1. You with me? I go to level 2, which is being or true self. Total number of true selves in the world is 1. Singular that has no plural. Complete being. That's what you're referring to. But that is usually described as the end of the story. It's not. Then after being is the unmanifest. It's the uncreated. It's your name before your mother and father were born. Right? It's before the Big Bang. And then being, no thing, decided to become what? Something. And the unmanifest decided to become manifest. And we moved from being to becoming. And ignorance is a partial relationship to reality. So when people teach being without becoming, that's the definition of ignorance. Because if you would actually define spirit, spirit is being, absolutely, which is beyond doing. And then above being is becoming, in which doing is reenacted from a different place of consciousness. So that's the play. Cool? Yep. That's the vision. So there's level 1 is personality. And then they tell you move beyond your story. How many people have heard that? Move beyond your story. No. Move beyond your story, level 1. Move beyond your ego story. Move beyond your separate self story. Then realize your enlightenment as an awakened being. Brian, awakened being. True self. And then awaken again as an irreducible, unique self who's radically, absolutely becoming and acting as an outrageous lover. As the unique incarnation of love intelligence and love beauty. And actually the teaching of being has crippled the teaching of outrageous love. You follow? And it's actually the most popular teaching in our particular area bay, right? So you got to move beyond that. But let's take like maybe 5 minutes now for any questions, any comments. Then we're going to take it into music and we're going to take it into practice. Okay, so we got being handled. Anyone else? How you doing?
I'm curious if...
Since I wasn't here for names, just do the names again with me.
I'm Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hi. If you feel like people can awaken to the unique self without spending too much time in like the unified consciousness being?
To really awaken to unique self, you need a hit of unified consciousness. You can get that in about 5 minutes, and then you've got to practice and re-access it every day. Okay? So let's just do it for a second. Let's hit unified consciousness. Okay, 2 minutes. Ready? Here we go. How many people here saw Batman?
Which one?
Last one. The one that the one before, the one where Ledger died. Right? Remember that one, Batman? Okay, remember? Okay, cool. Best one, right? Totally, right? Yeah, guy died, yes. Okay, so Batman. So Batman is the entire Enlightenment story. So here we go. You remember the 2 boats? We're about to actually do it. We're actually going to awaken right now in the second. Right? Apologize to my friend Aja, but we can do it faster. Okay? Here we go. Okay? Right? Here we go. Okay? So 2 boats. What's happening in the 2 boats? What's the deal?
There's a boat of normal people and a boat of the criminals.
So a boat of normal people and a boat of the criminals. I don't know if I'm going to accept that division, but I got the point. Okay?
No.
I got you. The cool people and the bad people. I got you. We got it going on there. Okay. And what's the deal that's made? Basically, you got to each blow each other up. That's the deal. When the clock strikes 12, if you don't blow the other boat up, right, you blow. Okay? Now, who's the kind of awesome, tragic, wild devil figure in the story?
Joker.
The Joker. Joker's wild. Okay, Joker's wild. Joker's wild. Now, how many people remember the movie kind of vaguely? Kind of remember it? Kind of remember it?
No.
Back over there. Anyone see the movie there? No? You have friends who saw the movie? Have you ever seen a movie? Okay, it's good. No, I know. I don't see movies. I don't see movies either. I hate when people ask about movies. I'm sorry. Okay? So you got the Joker. Okay? So what happens? So it goes like this. Okay, ready? Ready? It's about to hit 12. What's the Joker absolutely convinced is going to happen? Someone's going to blow someone else up. And what does the Joker do? Remember? The Joker takes the person who should be the righteous hero. Who should be the righteous hero in the movie? The prosecutor dude.
Yeah.
Remember him? The prosecutor dude? What does he turn him into? A raging murderer. That's the Joker's joke. You get it? The Joker's saying, fuck this, man. This is all bullshit. No one's moral. Right? No one's actually good. It's all a joke. I can turn the whole thing upside down. It's Nietzsche's insane laughter. A prosecutor, total righteous guy, I'll take something away precious from him. I'll turn him into a raging murderer. That's what he does. And the Joker is laughing. He is ecstatically happy. And he's sure that these boats are going to blow each other up. And if you remember the movie, right, it's kind of a contemporary sacred text. Right? As the clock strikes 12, after this long discussion, both places decide they're going to give up their lives and not take the other boat out. And as that happens, cut scene, Joker goes insane. Because the joke's on the Joker. Because what just happened? We just had an awakening of enlightenment. You see, if you're a separate self, the only thing you do is you perpetuate yourself. That's what separate selves do. If I'm a separate self, what do? I survive. The second I'm willing to give my life up for a larger context, that itself in that moment is a glimpse of unified consciousness. Right? How many people in the room would be willing to give up their life to save, I don't know, 50 school children? Some people need a little raise the ante. I'll give you 100. 100? We got him at 100. There we go. Got him at 100. There we go. 50? No, not 50. 100? Yes. Yes, 100. Good. Right? Why? Because, that's right. 100 in peer pressure. Thank you. Thank you. One second. Are you telling us that 150? Forget the peer pressure. 150? She's causing trouble. Forget that, Rachel. Okay, here we go. Okay? So what does that mean? So if you're willing to give up your life, and this is a pointing out instruction, right, in a sacred Aramaic text in the 17th century, loosely translated, if you're willing to give up your life for a larger context, that is enlightened consciousness living in you. Now, what should you do? You shouldn't give up your life for a larger context. You should live your life for a larger context, right? That is not to give up your life. That is to realize, if you realize you'd be willing to give up the whole thing for a larger context, stay alive, right? And live for a larger context. But then the second you realize that, though, the second you realize I give up my life for something other than my separate self, you're no longer in separate self. In that moment, that's enlightened consciousness right there. Now, you're completely right, Rachel, that you've got to completely come back to that all the time. You've got to come back to this larger context all the time. And you've got to always liberate yourself from that kind of narcissism that says it's me. But once you've done that and you realize being, Brian, then the being awakens as becoming. It awakens as becoming, and it has what the Upanishads called inaction in action. So you're acting, becoming, but there's inaction, what you beautifully brought into the room, being, that's in your action. So if you don't have inaction and action, you become a kind of raving egomaniac covered up by culture and awarded in 1,000 dinners. Right? But if you actually have being, you've accessed being, and your becoming emerges out of your being, that's unique self. But that's the unique incarnation of love intelligence. Okay? So anyone else? Thoughts, comments, alternative speeches, jokes? Yes and yes. Name, just give us a name.
Candace.
Hi, Candace.
Hi. I'm feeling just a sense of, it feels like there's like a level 1, level 2, level 3, and I'm wondering if there's a circular, like you go down, you learn, and then you come back down, because I'm just feeling that there's some people who might feel this obligation or purpose, but it actually comes out as a narcissistic megalomania.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to what your thoughts are about, like, are they actually like half in, half out? Like there may be truth in the fact that I'm the only one that can do this, but there's an unintegrated shadow, one might say, about
Yeah.
that work.
Yeah, and actually, first off, I'm going to say two things. You are absolutely right, and absolutely wrong,
Great.
which is awesome,
Yeah,
right?
paradox.
Yeah, paradox rocks, okay? That's why the Buddha's smiling. You're absolutely right in that we often meet people who are talking a world-centric game, but just get this, everyone, it feels so fucking egocentric to us, right? I have a friend, name I won't mention, who ran for president, actually, one of the side presidential parties in the last election. And I mean, just like, he talked the best world-centric game in the world, but just like, oh my God, it was so big, you couldn't even be around him, right? So there's can for sure be unintegrated shadow, which is exactly what I was talking about with Brian over here. Level 1, separate self, do your work. Level 2, get a hit, a genuine hit, right, of true self, unified consciousness. And you can get it in a lot of ways. You can get it through ecstatic loving. You can get it through kind of melting into a mountain. You can get it on a ceremony, in a journey, right? You can get it in kind of radical music. You can get it through meditation. You can get it through chant. There's lots of ways to get it. And then you lose it, then you keep getting it again. And then from that place, you then awaken, right, as unique self. But here's the key. When the house is burning, you don't wait to go through the whole fireman school to throw water. So actually, right, the kind of classical teaching in, let's say, Pune today is, well, you got to wait till you're awakened.
Right.
But actually, the world's burning. And actually, let's do something. Actually, we're okay, right? You know, that's why I said 5 minutes. What I meant by 5 minutes is we got to get out of that thing. I'm going to wait till I've actually worked it all out. You're never going to work it all out, ever. Do you guys, y'all remember the movie A Beautiful Mind? How many people remember it? How many people saw the movie? Did I see back there? Yeah, good, okay. Yes, yes. Right, so A Beautiful Mind. Okay, it's about this physicist dude. Remember the movie? And what was great about the movie is the movie makers actually took us into his psychosis. So there were like these 3 characters that appear in the movie that you actually think are real. Remember that? And at some point you realize you're psychotic along with him. These people don't exist, right? It's like, oh my God, right? It's kind of a shocking, it was one of the great, and I think it's one of the great movies actually of the last 50 years. It's like a fantastic movie. And the best part is the last scene. The last scene, he's worked with his psychosis, and he's in an auditorium in Princeton. I happen to know the auditorium, right? And he's sitting there and he's receiving, this kind of international award, right, for his great work. And as he walks out of the auditorium, he walks out and it looks like he's finally, you see those 3 people standing. Everyone remember that scene? Mm-hmm. Right? Those people are never going to go away, right? Sanity doesn't mean they go away. It means you've created a wedge of awareness and you know that they're there, right? I have a bunch of friends, like a lot of friends who are enlightenment teachers. That's what my gang does. We kind of get together and talk about it, and you kind of teach what you have no idea what it is. So you figure you might as well teach it, so learn to think about it, right? And so they teach about evolving beyond ego, right? No one in the world will ever evolve beyond ego. It will never happen. There is no one in the world who has ever evolved beyond ego. Never going to happen, and you never want to.
Well, ego has a purpose. That's
Yes.
what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree.
Great.
So awesome.
Satan.
Yeah, Satan. How do we get to Satan?
No, but I read
She kind of seduced me there. Yes, 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 Satan. That was a little scary. Does she do that to you? Yes, yes, Satan. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I actually read a book that Satan is not evil. It's actually just your ego that has been unintegrated and
Yeah.
and hasatan. My understanding was that.
Right, that's right. You're absolutely right. Satan is liston, which is kind of to strayed in the path when you kind of the ego thinks that it's king. So we never evolve beyond ego.
Right.
We evolve beyond exclusive identification with ego.
Right.
I realize I'm true self. I awaken as unique self, and it all just happened right here. We just did it. And how many people in the room have, 10 seconds, how many people in the room have a first-person sense of what unique self means? Right at this moment, right now, right here. You got to get a sense of this idea of unique self. Good, so you're there. See what I mean? It's over. Right now, you can keep coming back to it. You can keep deepening it. You should for sure buy the book and read it twice, and obviously, right? Because without actually reading the book several times and sending several copies to friends, you probably won't be enlightened, right? But ignoring that, okay? Right, you with me? Right? I mean, you got it right here. So once you're there, then the question is, where's your outrageous love? Okay? And here's the thing, okay? And we're to you in 10 seconds, okay? Right? Your outrageous love's got to be outrageous. Right? It's kind of a tautology, but I want to say it again. Outrageous love is not lovely. Lovely is not outrageous love. Outrageous love is not unconditional love. Unconditional love is kind of boring. Okay, we're tired of that. Outrageous love is outrageous. And I mean, it brings the entire energy, right, that created reality. I mean, what is reality? Logos, New Testament, the Word. Reality is an outrageous love letter. What are you? What is it? Reality is an outrageous love letter from the infinite to the finite, which the unmanifest for no reason decided to manifest. That's outrageous. It's beyond outrageous. We have no idea why it happened. Mysterium tremendum. Go. Say it. What would you say? Boredom? Yeah, that's bullshit, man. Right? Yeah, no, I know. Leela, right? Hinduism, one strain, boredom. Really? Really? I mean, really? I mean, in other words, it's one of the dumbest Hindu ideas I've ever heard. Okay? Right? And they do this idea, and there's some dumb Jewish ideas, some dumb Christian ideas. So dumbness kind of resides all around. But try and kind of figure out for a second, right? Accessing your first person. The entire manifest intelligent reality, with all of its poignancy, all of its pain, is a function of divine play Leela. Really? Really? Does anyone really believe that? Right? Boredom? Right? Boredom? My friend Ken likes to use that because he's got it. I said, Ken, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Right? Boredom? Really? Right? All quarks because all God was bored. I mean, and what does that say about a world? It's like sometimes I hear spiritualizing, does anyone believe that? Right? But you're actually citing because it's actually taught a lot. It's taught a lot.
No, I think there's something about profound loneliness if there's no one.
Loneliness is not boredom. Loneliness is something else.
Okay.
Loneliness, we've now moved from boredom to loneliness. Okay, loneliness is a whole different story. We can have a loneliness conversation. What does that mean? We got to figure it out. But what I'm pushing you on is, and gently and lovingly, I hope, right? Is that we got to reclaim the words. We got to right? You know why there's no religious wars anymore? Because no one thinks religion's worth fighting about. Right? Right? It's like we just throw the fucking words around. Right? If we're going to actually re-articulate a Dharma, if we're going to be the Buddha gathering the people to create the canon, we better damn fucking well know precisely in our first person, in a living, organic way, what that word means, what it creates in reality, what it doesn't, and that's how we're going to weave a Dharma. And we can weave a Dharma. We can create a heaven on earth. We can create a post-traditional, post-dogmatic, new vision of patterns that connect, that's non-fundamentalist. We just got to take our words so seriously and relax and hang out and laugh. But we got to do them at the same time. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You've waited so patiently.
Oh, and I feel like I'm interfering with someone else, so thank you.
You've been working with that feeling for a while?
Just this moment, because
I got it.
said him. So, okay, this has to do with, well, the devil is also the trickster, coyote, in certain cultures. And so when we're looking at Dharma, and, I've identified my Dharma a decade ago, and one of the things that I've dealt with is the paradox of, and maybe the test, I don't know,
Beautiful.
the cycling, this is what I want you to talk about. Where do you stand on the spectrum of finding your Dharma, pursuing and jumping off the cliff for your Dharma and your amazing love and incredible love, having the trickster, coyote, devil throw the dice time and again to interfere and create obstacles so that every true gesture of love is not met.
Yeah, I'm with you.
How do you manage that and deal with that in your ego?
No, I got it. What's your name?
Amy.
Hi, Amy. Yeah, it's a beautiful question.
Love.
Yeah, I know.
Love it.
I know. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful name. Right, so I want to just share with you something, Amy. Okay? It's a beautiful, beautiful inquiry. I love it. right? And it's, I mean, everyone can feel it in the room, right? I mean, it's gorgeous. So how many people in this room have been betrayed? Right? Now here's a rule about betrayal. You can only be betrayed by someone who could never betray you. You get that? That's the point of betrayal, right? 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 If they could betray you and you knew that, that's not betrayal. Right? So you can only be betrayed by Judas. Right? Judas and Jesus are madly in love. Right? You can only be betrayed by someone who just breaks your fucking heart. You never thought it possible. Right? And I can remember a moment, in my life, and this is the kind of question I can only answer just in first person, where I had built a movement at a particular moment in my life and protected it from every external enemy, because I was kind of moving against a kind of Orthodox establishment as an Orthodox rabbi, and kind of was running a kind of television show in a country which didn't have that many people, and so it was enough people watching the show to kind of move elections, and all sorts of crazy things happened. And I remember there was a moment in which, right, one inner circle person, for just simple, just reasons of just stuff, just kind of did an incredible betrayal. And I realized, as it happened, that I hadn't protected against it, because it never in a million years occurred to me, ever, that person, right, who kind of got the vision of outrageous love, could get caught and do it. We've all been betrayed 1,000 times.
This isn't about betrayal, though, but I appreciate the discussion because I felt
But the
that too.
trickster,
Yes.
let's get to the trickster, okay? See, it is about betrayal in the end, right? And I'm going to push back and you push back on me.
Betrayal?
Right? It's about reality betraying me, right? Right? It's not about a person. It's about reality betrays me.
Okay.
Here I am. No, I heard you, sister.
Showing up.
Right? I am showing up. And I am ready to be an outrageous lover. And reality fucks with me. And it stops me and blocks me, right? Time and time and time again. And breaks my heart and takes away my resources and ties my hand and whips me and beats me. Right? That's the way it always happens. It's the way it always happens. Right? Any outrageous lover, right, encounters, right, that ultimate betrayal by reality. And what reality wants to know is that you're really going to stay. Right? Rabia. Remember Rabia? Are you committed? One day, he did not leave after kissing me. It's Rabia's greatest poem. One day, he did not leave after kissing me. Reality wants you to fuck it open. Right? If I could translate loosely from the Zohar, reality is fuck, or God is fuck. Zivug is the word. And it doesn't mean fuck in the kind of small sense, capital F. Right? Right? Fuck's one of those complicated words, right? You don't really know what it means. Right? You say to someone, fuck off. What does that mean? You're supposed to fuck over there, off of me? Right? Go fuck yourself. What does that mean? Go fuck yourself. Your mother's a motherfucker. What does that mean? Right? Or then you get excited. You say fucking A. You're like excited. Right? It's like, it's just a very confusing word. We don't know what it means. Okay? So I don't want to go into that confusion. Right? But when the Zohar says God is fuck, it says zivug is the Hebrew word. What it means is that reality wants to fuck you open in every moment. And reality wants you to fuck reality open in every moment. And to fuck it open means is you just blow the moment open. That moment is so fucking full. It's got so much there. And if you engage it tepidly, and if you kind of flirt, it's not going to happen. You got to step in and let it penetrate you, fully thrust in, right, and open it up. Right? Right? That's available in every moment. And then reality fucks with you and tries to stop you and moves you and breaks you 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Your heart breaks 1,000 times. But the secret is that you and I both know, Amy, the lover, right, is that when your heart breaks, it opens. Right? When your heart breaks, when it really breaks, it opens. And there's nothing more whole than a broken heart. Nothing more whole than a broken heart. Right? My heart, your heart's been broken 1,000 times. I've lost more than I can imagine. And we get up and we love again. We become outrageous lovers. And there's nothing that can stop us because we're hungry. Right? You see, that's the thing. If I'm hungry, I'm going to move the world to get food because I'm hungry. But if I actually experience myself as true self being, and you're hungry, then we're hungry together.
What about the hunger that then pushes like a magnet what it chases?
What about it? Right? You know what I mean? In other words, that's right, there's 10 but what about it questions. The trickster's language is, but what about? That's the trickster's language. But what about? And of course, the reason the trickster is good is because it's a legitimate question. It's real. The only response to outrageous pain is outrageous love. Right? That's why we started with that was our sutra. Right? The world's a place of outrageous pain. The only response to outrageous pain is outrageous love, and it's outrageous. It's outrageous to be fucked by the trickster 1,000 times and get up again and be an outrageous lover. That's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
What does outrageous mean?
I don't know. Right? No idea. But you'll know it when you meet it. Right? It's gnosis. Right? You know it when you meet it. Right? You remember it, and we're going to go to Brian over here. Do you remember Justice Stevens, right, in the court, the high court was trying to rule on pornography? Right? And he said, I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it. Right? So this is a true story. A very close friend of mine who's the Chief Justice, was Chief Justice for many years in Utah, was clerking, right, for Stevens. And so Stevens, every Thursday night, it's a true story, in Washington, would sit Thursday nights and watch pornography in order to issue rulings. So like all the young clerks would kind of get together with him, but he was an old man with these big black glasses, so what he would do is he'd sit up really close to the screen. And it was those old projectors, so you'd have like on the Chief Justice's back, right, these kind of wild pornographic scenes with all the clerks kind of watching with him trying to give a ruling, right? So it's kind of like that. That's outrageous, okay? That's outrageous, right? You know it's outrageous when it feels in your body that you just can't do this, and you absolutely must. You get that? You just can't do this, but you absolutely must. That's outrageous. Yeah. Yes. Give name. Evan. You with? Yeah. Brian. No. Yeah. Mark.